Hello everybody, MegaZardX here, back at it again to give you all another very exciting video. And for today, honestly, it was only a matter of time until I actually sat down and talk about this, because I've been thinking about this for the longest time. But tell me why. Since the year of COVID 2020 onward, if you look at a vast majority of limited edition or special editions, yada yada yada, when you look at them, do they kind of seem a little bit lackluster? Do they happen to be, pricing insanely expensive? Like we're talking about 200 plus on some limited editions or whatnot though? Or does it not seem like you're getting a lot of bang for your buck nowadays? I mean, I don't know. At least for me personally, that's what it kind of seemed like it for me though. Of course, that's not every single limited or special edition out there though. But from what I'm picking up, for the most part though, that's what some things I'm just noticing, at least myself though. I've been going through and collecting a lot of special and limited editions throughout my year. Like literally Fire and Fates, the special edition one was literally the bane of my existence. And I'm kind of glad I finally got my hands up on this one though. But in this video today, I want to go ahead and talk about limited editions now versus then. Talk about and compare some of the limited edition stuff that I have collected. Not every single thing I have, or we'll be here for a very fat minute though, but some of the stuff that I had, and then let's just go ahead and jump into the now of some limited editions we're actually planning to get for this year, for 2023, and I think one that happened to be already released in 2022. But if you hadn't already done so, make sure to go and hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell. That way you can stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight up into this video. Alright, so first off, the then. Let me go ahead and show y'all this. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was a special edition I didn't manage to pick up at launch. I happened to get it several years later though. The value of this thing crazily shot up in the secondary market though. But back in the day, pre-COVID, when you got limited editions such as this, I mean, honestly, you always got things such as the art book is always a standard given, and then you usually get something else, usually a steel book or whatnot though. We got this in this game though. But then the thing that is kind of a little bit iffy nowadays, if you look at the now stuff, is literally you don't get music all the time in this thing. Like I'm just looking at this and I'm like, y'all can see the back though, but I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, bruh, I've literally missed the days where you used to get a little bit of the CD soundtrack with it. Obviously, you're not going to get every single piece of music that's up in a limited edition or whatnot, though. But you expect to maybe get a little bit of something, though. Maybe that's partly due to the fact that, at least going forward, if you look at a lot of your modern laptops or whatnot, though, a lot of them don't have CD drives. Maybe if you have a desktop, that's probably your most reliable way of having a CD drive up in there. But mostly everything's going digital nowadays, though. So it really kind of doesn't make sense for them to kind of give you music. But I wish there was some kind of alternative, maybe give you a link to download something like that, maybe a thumb drive or whatnot though. It would be really nice. It would be really nice, Nintendo. I mean, oh man, music though, man, oh man, that's a lost age right there. Now let's go ahead and jump in comparison to something that we gotten here fairly recently post-COVID, that being the Persona 5 Royal One More Edition. I actually have this and it's in my room, downstairs or whatever though, and unfortunately I ain't gonna haul that big thing up here because that thing is like freaking huge or whatnot though. Me being like a really strong lover of Persona 5 Royal, I just wanted to get something tangible. I missed out on some of the other cooler editions they had for Persona 5, the vanilla version and the original Royal one when it came out on PS4 though, the one that had like the mask edition and whatnot though. So I missed out on that, but I wanted to have something tangible with this one. I'm glad I still managed to get it. But the one weird thing about this, when I was looking at this limited edition, when I was going through and unboxing it, is there's no Yusuke art card and there's no Morgana. I was like, wait a minute, we have art cards of every single thing that's up in this limited edition. But the fact that we did not get those two, but we got every single other character, like they weren't gonna miss out on any of those females, because everybody like them females up in Persona 5 or whatnot though. But I was like, what the heck? I don't know, just little things like that kind of ticked me off a little bit though. But outside of that, it was really nice getting the steelbook, which I guess technically the steelbook was included within most normal stuff. You got over there some tarot cards and whatnot though, and then art cards and everything, the briefcase, and then you got like a little stand to hold it in, and then obviously the big treasure chest itself though. So overall, it seemed to be a very nice package, but I guess in comparison to some of the previous ones, I don't know, it seemed a little bit lackluster. The real kicker was, if I remember this right, it did cost about $120 MSRP. That Xenoblade Chronicles 2 one I showed you just a moment ago, I want to say that was either 80 or 90-ish MSRP though. You might see the actual cost of it on the screen though, but in comparison to this, where it's like 120, and the original game it was like $60 when it came out, I'm like, that's a steep margin. I'm just saying, and then you have to pay the crazy shipping fees and whatnot though. So I don't know, Atlas could always do a very better job on doing their limited edition things though, but oh goodness, how times have changed right here. All right, let me talk about one of my best Fire Emblem games, or at least my most memorable one, that being Fire Emblem Three Houses. One of the later entries, at least the first entry that we got mainline within the Nintendo Switch though, and I'm glad I picked up this one though, because I felt like everything that kind of came out, well, not necessarily after this one, maybe the next one I will show y'all like this though, but it almost started to become a turning point, but it still felt pretty good given the limited editions up until this point. We got this one that released out in like 2019, and we got some really cool stuff up in it though. We obviously, you had the game itself, you had the art book, you had the calendar system, which if you play through Fire Emblem Three Houses, how important the calendar system is as well. And then on top of all of that, you still managed to get a steelbook as well as the CD. I think this is like literally the last one that I managed to actually get that had the CD actually included in it. And I think everything post that limited edition right there, I didn't necessarily get a lot of CDs or stuff like that included in the stuff, which is a bit unfortunate if you really do ask me myself though. But I felt like this was like almost a kind of turning point in terms of the physical media, in terms of the stuff that you kind of got. That value right there, was it $90, $100 or something like that? Pretty good, pretty good limited edition right there. I do say so myself. But now let's go ahead and run it over to the Street Fighter 6 limited edition thing that we just recently got revealed not too long ago. It's called like the Street Fighter Mag Gearbox one. The box art and stuff like that, it looks pretty nice. It looks pretty nice just looking at it though. You get the two figures between, two of our fighters that are representative in the game itself. You get a nice small little art book and whatnot though. And then it's weird how they give you a bunch of digital content up in the thing, like where it has like, you get like 4 additional characters, costumes and colors, 2 additional stages. You get like a purchase bonus of like 7,700 drive tickets, and then you get like a pre-order bonus, a color 10 for Chun-Li, Jamie, as well as like a handful of other ones though. So I was like, oh, okay, whatever though. Let's see here. You also had some sticker cards, a figure, diorama boards, obviously the full game itself, and all that digital content that I just mentioned up in there though. So honestly, it's not too terribly bad looking at this limited edition though. But if you look at the price of this, oh, y'all might be flabbergasted. This mess is $250 stinking dollars. I'm over here looking at this like, Capcom, have y'all lost y'all gosh dang mind? Because I'm like, what? Why on the earth is this $250? I'm literally looking at it. You got your traditional art book, you got your steel book, you got some diorama stuff, some traditional things that you might see up there, and the box itself. Digital goodies, which honestly shouldn't really account to that much, expenses, like at most $5 to $10 at most. So where is all the money going at? And then you look at the figures, and I'm like, of course that is going to drive up the cost so much. I'm like, outside of those figures, which honestly they do look kind of cool, I mean, outside of that, I don't feel like there's a lot of stuff that's going on in this thing that stands out in comparison to other limited edition things. Those limited editions that are well above $200 always scratch me the wrong way. Lower that mess down to like, if it was all of this for $120 like the Persona 5 Royal one, okay, that seems a little bit more reasonable, a little bit more fair. But throwing in 2 figures and jacking the price all the way up to $250, that ain't it, Capcom. That ain't it. Now, lastly, okay, I know I've been talking about a lot of Fire Emblem, though. Fire Emblem's like one of the premium ones I like to collect, though. But Fire Emblem, the 30th anniversary one, this right here is by far the best limited edition I think I have ever got. And the real kicker is, this don't even have a physical game up inside of it, which I think is the only drawback in this one limited edition right here, though. But go ahead, Bane. And show all the fine people what's all up in this thing, though. Go ahead and throw the graphic up. But literally, because in this one, you literally get the game itself, which is comes as like a download card or whatnot, though, download code. You get the deluxe art book, which that is a really fat art book right there. You get the replica game pack art piece, which literally you get like the slip sleeve cover that the NES cartridge would normally go up in. On top of that, it's like an acrylic NES cartridge. So while we don't get a physical game of it, though, we do get a replica of what it would basically look like if it did manage to come over here to the West. Then you get an instruction booklet, another box to actually house what the NES cartridge will actually come up, and you get a world map, and then you also get a mini Nintendo Power Retro collectible thing right there. So honestly, when you look at all of that stuff within this Fire Emblem 30th anniversary thing, oh shoot, I don't think Nintendo has made a better limited edition than this. The only caveat, as I mentioned before, was the fact that there's, no physical game up inside of here, though. The only thing that really stung about this thing, though, was the fact that, this was limited. Like, they dropped this out December of 2020. It ended roughly about, like, March of 2021. So unfortunately, you can't necessarily go out and actually buy the digital copy of the game anymore, though. But this was priced fairly good. This was like $50. The game itself, digitally at the time, I think was like roughly about $7-ish or so dollars, though. But I mean, outside of that, that was really nice limited edition. I don't think much of anything else has topped it. If they would have made a physical version to stick up in here and then maybe throw in a little bit of music or something like that, that would be the peak and the modern example of making a great limited edition right there, though. So I wish a lot more companies would take note on that. Now, speaking of anniversary editions, let's go ahead and talk about Final Fantasy, because they are doing a pixel remaster edition for this game right here. So let's go ahead and look at the contents of what's shown off in this one, though. You literally get the 2-disc picture vinyl record set, which luckily in this one, you do get music. So you get the vinyls themselves, which you should be able to play music off of, but you also get downloadable codes to be able to play the digital versions of all the music that's on those discs. So hey, Square Enix, you checked off one box. You actually managed to bring some music back. I can appreciate that. Obviously, you get the anniversary box itself that has like a bunch of different characters up in it, so that looks really nice as well. Then you get the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster art book. Okay, you got the standard art book up in there. Then you get the game, the Switch or the PS4 version, yada yada yada, and then you get the Pixel figurine. So, looking at it face value, not a lot of, limited editions give you music nowadays. So honestly, it checked off a lot of boxes. The only thing that's really missing is just the steel book, but then I guess they give you a slip sleeve to go over that, which is kind of nice though, but I still kind of prefer the steel book or whatnot though. That might be the only, check mark that it didn't manage to kind of get off on this list though. However, despite all this good stuff, we come down to that price, because that price is $260. My freaking goodness, Square Enix, you trying to give Capcom a run for their money, man. $10 extra on top of that $250 for that limited edition I mentioned not too long ago. My goodness, we got to find a way. Capcom, Square Enix, we got to find a way to get that mess underneath that 200 threshold mark. Literally, if you would have got this game literally lower than 150, you probably would have had a lot more people to actually bite on this and, be more encouraged to feel like, okay, I get a lot of bang for my buck. You probably would have even almost got me to buy it. But when I saw it over 200, I'm like, hey, no, I can't afford to do this. No, absolutely not. Even though, yes, it did manage to sell out, give it enough time. It was on there for like a handful of hours, whatnot, before selling out though. But it didn't take too incredibly long though. It was weird how they dropped this mess at like past midnight. I remember when this thing went up when I bought the standard edition of this game though. So yeah, Square Enix, you gotta at least throw us a T-bone somewhere out there, though. Like, I know we're a bunch of dogs out here trying to eat up your good RPGs and whatnot, though. But I mean, like, come on, you gotta throw us at least a bone here or two, man. Come on, Square Enix. All right, and lastly, as one of my last examples I have, here's another Fire Emblem one right here. Fire Emblem Engage, which this one right here, I was like, okay. You know what? At first, I was kind of mixed about all the stuff you might have possibly got up in this one, though. But then the more and more I started looking at it, obviously you got the game, the steel book, the art book itself, some art cards, which the art cards are actually kind of like holographic. Like if you, played any like Pokemon TCG cards, whatnot, though, those holographic ones, the ones where you kind of flip and they shine and get that little rainbow kind of reflection up on there, though, those actually look really nice, actually looking back at it. And then the poster is like freaking huge or whatnot, though. I did an unboxing on the channel, though. You can probably check out that card in the corner or whatnot, though. But I was like, what the heck? I was like, there was actually a lot of good bang up in this one, though. Granted, the thing wasn't, largely expensive. We were lower than that $100 threshold right there, though. So I'm like, oh, okay. It wasn't necessarily too bad going back and looking at that limited edition one right there, though. But the only thing that kind of stung with this one was the fact we didn't get any kind of music or whatnot, though. I feel like that was the only main drawback, though. But at first, I was just thinking this was kind of mediocre to begin with. But then when I looked at the status of the quality of those art cards and just representing the whole Fire Emblem history and whatnot, though, I was like, okay, it's not as bad as what I thought it was. I think it's a pretty solid limited edition right there, though. So not too bad, but obviously you can tell Nintendo limited edition starting to head in a little different direction. Now let's go ahead. If you hadn't thought I talked about Square Enix enough, now we got to bring them up again one more time right here. Because Final Fantasy 16 Collector's Edition, oh my goodness. You know what, at first I was like, okay, it looks okay. You get a steelbook, you get the game itself, you get the box that it comes out of, which I was like, okay, all that stuff looks really nice. The map and stuff right there. And then you look at this and it looks like you get some little extra like pins and whatnot, though, really nice stuff. And then you get that thick looking figurine right there showing one of the summons right there. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, you know what? That looks really, really cool. But then you look at it and you see a figurine and then you start thinking to yourself, oh, shoot, how much does this cost? And then you're going to jump out of your seat on this one, though, because this game right here, it costs a freaking $350. And I'm over here looking at this and I'm like, I'm looking at all my stinking limited edition games I got right over here, and then looking at everything else, and I thought $250-ish was kind of crazy, though, but a stinking $350? And I'm looking at all of this, I was like, there's no freaking way, Square Enix, there's just no way. Because literally, when you look at this, if you compare it to the deluxe edition, which the deluxe edition costs about $100, you're getting almost the same stuff. You're getting that, you're getting the map, you get the game itself, and you get the steelbook. All of that stuff is in the deluxe for $100, which isn't too terrible considering the MSRP is $70. So it's not terrible. It's not like, it's not completely out there. It's manageable. It's doable. But then the only thing that makes it really different is those pins and that figurine. Really, all the money is going towards that figurine. That figurine alone literally has a value of about $200. Now that is freaking insane. I was saying try to keep it underneath that $200 threshold. Square Enix was like, I'll do you one better, and just completely blow me out of the water on this one, though. I don't know, you still might be able to actually place pre-orders for this one because it's just that expensive. I feel like that's the major problem with games nowadays. You might have some value that's there, but they're just expanding and inflating that balloon, just seeing how big they could possibly make it. How far can they push the limit with their consumer base before no one buys it and they just have a whole bunch of extra? Then they start writing down notes and say, all right, we'll take off $20, maybe $50 or something like that. I don't know. We got to do better. We got to do better. Now, like I said, that was going to be the last one I was going to show you. No, this is truly going to be the last one I'll show you because there's no way. I had to talk about my Legend of Zelda, though, because Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, this is by far the one limited edition that I think literally kind of set me on the path of collecting a whole lot more. And I just managed to luck out on this one. I managed to actually roll into a Target on the launch day with the Switch and Breath of the Wild. Roll into a Target, not even pre-order this thing. It was sitting there on the shelf. There was maybe a couple people in front of me in line or whatnot, though. I managed to go in there, get it, pick it up, roll out with the Switch and stuff on the same day, though. So honestly, I really lucked out on this one because I thought I was going to miss it. I think I kind of like this one a little bit better than the Master Edition, which the Master Edition had all the same contents in this one, just with the Master Sword that's in that little pedestal right there, though. But literally, you got the game itself, you got the Nintendo Switch case that's in the Sheikah Slate, you get the music, which we don't get a lot of music nowadays. The whole Breath of the Wild map right there, the map of Hyrule, as well as a Sheikah Eye collectible coin right there. It's like a little gold coin and whatnot, though. So honestly, that was some really good stuff up in that one. Literally kind of set us off in terms of a good amount of limited editions that kind of led all the way up to the Fire Emblem 30th anniversary one. And then I think since then, you know, things started to get a little bit crazy in terms of the quality and in terms of some with the price point, what you're kind of getting up in there, etc. though. But that's one of my most favorite ones. Even the texture on the box felt a little bit different though, so I really do like that one. Now, if we compare it to its direct sequel, which this is honestly the key telltale of everything right here though, but literally, if you look at this one right here, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom one, we can look at the contents right here. You get the box itself that it comes up in. You get the game. You get the steelbook. You get a poster, but not just any kind of poster. It's actually like a steel, it's like a steel poster, because at first I thought it was just a regular one, but a steel poster, I was like, oh, okay, whatever. Then you get the pin set and then the art book. So a lot of traditional stuff up in here. It's almost very similar to the same one that we got with Breath of the Wild. It's just, obviously you don't have like a Switch case in here and you don't have music. That's the only things you're kind of missing, but this, you know, the Sheikah Slate is kind of replaced with the pin set. Not sure how good the quality of the pin sets will be, but I think it's still going to be interestingly enough, you know, it might be interesting enough or whatever though. But I was looking at this and I was like, all right, $100, right? Nintendo, here's my money. You can go ahead and shell it out. And they were like, no. This game is priced at $70. It's not your traditional $60 MSRP. They increased that $70, up to $70, which is kind of weird how late it's happening in the console lifetime though. But I'm fully expecting there to be $70 Nintendo games for whatever system comes after the Switch. So I'm like, okay, so maybe that's the reason why some of the price would have got jacked up. But then on top of that, they just decided to add a little extra to it. So the cost for this limited edition is $130. This is, I think, the first time Nintendo has ever priced something this high with it being $130. I mean, you got up there maybe a little bit closer with the Master Edition, but that had a figurine up in it, so maybe it was a little bit more justifiable or whatnot though. But honestly, and you had options for that one. You could have got the cheaper one like that one for $100 though, but $130? I'm like, I don't know. I was like, Nintendo, it feels a little bit greedy, a little bit scummy. I don't know. Do y'all necessarily feel the same? Because I'm like, I just don't know about this. I really don't know about this one right here. I mean, because at first, if that was going to be a regular poster and not actually be like a steel version of that poster, I was about to lose my freaking mind, because maybe that's why some of the price got jacked up on this though. But I feel like they could have priced this a little bit better. Maybe they could have kept it a little closer to the $100 mark. I don't know. But I don't know. That's the key telltale when you look at what I just compared with Breath of the Wild, and then you look at this, it's like they took away some of the music, they jacked the price up a lot though. I mean, the quantity of stuff you're kind of getting up in here, unless that steel poster just kind of blows me out the water, I don't know if it's going to be nearly as good as like the Breath of the Wild one we got. I don't know. It's just kind of weird and it's kind of interesting, because when you actually look at limited editions, at least from the Nintendo side perspective, literally, according to a report from like Kit and Chris, people that used to work at Nintendo, it's people that work underneath those NOA, Nintendo of America, Nintendo of Europe, that decides what they kind of put up in those limited editions, and then they get ran back with Nintendo Japan and whatnot though. So I was like, I don't know. I don't know what makes them kind of think that some of this stuff is good in comparison to some of the other stuff though. I would love for y'all to actually include music again. I don't know how many times I've probably said this in this video though, but my stinking goodness though. But oh my goodness, how limited editions have changed. So yeah, so that's basically all I have to talk about within this video. It's crazy how we had so many good limited editions, ones I kind of mentioned before. Obviously, I can't mention everything or showcase off everything. Like, I had the Metroid Dread one, I have a Xenoblade Chronicles 3 one downstairs that I couldn't even bring up here or whatnot though, and probably a handful of other things, like I got NES Classic, SNES Classic, stuff like that. I didn't even mention about the console special edition, stuff like that. I was kind of primarily sticking to the games themselves though, but some of the same stuff can apply with some of that stuff as well though. But honestly, it's crazy to see how good the limited editions were across the board. pre-COVID in comparison to some of the stuff we gotten post-COVID, especially just looking at some of the limited editions we're getting for 2023 though. But yeah, y'all gotta let me know down in the comment section down below, what all do you think about this? Are there some limited editions you really, you got over there on your shelf and they look absolutely amazing and you would not regret it at all to say, no, I was actually going to be willing to part ways with that limited edition because you just like it so much for the stuff they gave you up in there though? Or also, have you been thinking about just looking at limited edition stuff like, we don't get stuff like this anymore in comparison to like looking at the Street Fighter 6 and the Final Fantasy 16 or even Tears of the Kingdom and stuff like that. $350 for some kind of limited edition or $250s for like those pixel remaster ones. What on earth are we doing right now? We need to get those numbers down lower. Oh shoot. Man, I hope somebody out there is watching this from one of those companies. Like, please, I know it's not going to be likely, though, but at least spread the word, raise up some commotion, stuff like this. I mean, shoot, it's about time for us to stand up for some of these limited editions. Yes, we're willing to kind of throw out our wallets here left and right and whatnot, though, but on some things like this, you just got to plant your feet down because it's getting a little ridiculous out here. It's getting a little bit ridiculous. Is it just me? Is it y'all? I don't know. I don't know. But that's going to basically do it for this video though. So if you really like it, make sure to go ahead and hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing in the foreseeable future though. So remember y'all, until our video I make next, see y'all.